Good morning. Um, I'm Princess Van Pabilonia. I'm the one who report Lesson 3, Preparing and Administering Data Collection. Method of Survey Administration. There are 5 ways to administer surveys. First is one-on-one, second is group, third, telephone, fourth, postal mail, and fifth, electronic. First is one-on-one. This method is interviewer administered. The respondent answers questions from the interviewer that are either orally delivered or on a questionnaire. So kaning one-on-one method kay pag ang gi-interview sa mga interviewer is mo answer jud siya. Biskan pag sa interviewer gikan ang questions or sa survey questionnaires. The one-on-one mode of administration is feasible when giving tests or surveys that require other data gathering instruments. This method is very time-intensive but can provide rich and in-depth qualitative data related to the respondents' cognitions, feelings, and behaviors. Then ang one-on-one daw is mode of administrator nga nagahatag sila og test or surveys sa ilahang gina-require nila para sa other data. And kini daw na data is related sa pag-respondents sa cognitions, feelings, and behaviors of interviewer. Second, group. Group administration is often used in situations like college entrance tests, SATs, guidance testings, and the like. An interviewer, counselor, proctor, or researcher gives a group of people questionnaires to answer for a certain amount of time. This group administration daw nagagamit sila og situation like college entrance tests and guidance testing. So kani dong mga interviewer, counselor, or researchers nagahatag sila sa mga group questionnaires para maansiran jud ang mga questions on the time. This method of administration has the benefit of an immediate response rate and a large sample size. Measures must be taken by the researchers to standardize how the survey questionnaire is distributed to participants. Ang researchers daw naga-standardize sila kung unsaon nila pag-distribute ang mga survey questionnaires sa mga participants. And third is telephone. In telephone administration, the entire survey, including informed consent, constructions, items, and demographic questions must be read to participants. Ang telephone administration daw kay ang entire survey nila naga-include sa informed consent kay ginabasa jud nila sa mga participants kung unsaon siya or unsa ang way para sa pag-answer. There must also be a standardized script used by administrators as they talk to the respondents while trying to establish a sense of rapport with them. However, for this method, keep in mind that people change phone numbers often, and socially mobile populations may go unrepresented in the analysis. So ang administrators daw nagagamit sila og standardized script kung makipagstorya sila sa mga respondents. Then kani daw na method is ang people is naga-change og phone numbers for unrepresented data analysis. Fourth is postal mail. Postal mail administration is the most traditional method for collecting survey data. This is when the researchers send the survey questionnaire through mail. Ang postal mail is mao ni siya ang pinaka-traditional method sa pag-collect sa mga survey. Ginagamit pud ning mail sa pag-send og mga survey questions para mapadali lang siya. Doing this method also allows them to interact directly with the questionnaire and any other required researchers instruments that can be sent our mail. In this method, however, researchers are putting a lot of faith in the respondents that they will send the survey questionnaire back after they finish answering it. So, ang mga researchers daw is nagasalig sila sa mga respondents nga paghuman nila og answer sa mga survey questionnaires, ibalik nila sa mga interviewer. Then the last is electronic. Electronic and email administration is a practical and convenient method for gathering data on a large population. With the advent of internet and email, this type of survey administration has become the more reliable mode of administration for researchers who are including studies that involve different communities or large population. Pag-abot daw aning Facebook or email, kini daw na type of survey kay masaligan ni siya kay kani siya kay made of administrator for researchers nga nagakandak og studies na involved sa mga lahi-lahi na communities. There are also many online applications that will allow researchers to publish their survey questionnaires along with a unique hyperlink that can be embedded into emails. Once possible respondents click on the link, they will be sent to an online version to the survey which they can readily see and answer on any device available to them. So naay daghang mga online applications na gina-allow sa researchers na ma-establish ilang mga questionnaires with a unique hyperlink. So pag maklik, so katong link, pag maklik na to siya sa mga respondents, pwede na magdiretso og answer. So mas dali ra kaayo siya nga way. Then mas nindot pud siya kay available siya sa mga other devices. Administering surveys. You should keep a few things in mind before you administer your survey questionnaires through any of the methods started above. Ensure confidentially. As much as possible, surveys and other methods of gathering data that requires the participation of other people should be confidential. So dapat daw kani nga survey and gathering data gina-require sa mga participants na dapat maging confidential sila sa ubang tao. Their names should be kept private, and they should also not be associated with their answers. Din dapat ang ginabuhat sa mga participants is ilahang i-private ang ilang mga names o ilahang mga sariling answers. If the data gathering method lets you see who answered which questionnaire, make sure to assure them that their identities will be kept a secret. The same goes from interviews and telephone administered surveys. Ensuring confidentially use puts respondents at easy and allow them to be more honest with their answer. In gathering data method, ginatanaw nila kung kinsa jud ang naga-answer sa mga questionnaires. Then dapat ang mga respondents is honest silang pag-answer or honest silang mga answer. Aim for easy and widespread participation. Try to ensure that participating in your survey is convenient for your respondents. If it will be done in a venue, make sure it is easily accessible to many people. So, dapat i-sure nato ang atoang mga survey para sa mga participants na dali lang siya para sa mga respondents. Pag mahumana siya, dapat dali ra siya ma-access sa mga tao. Try to limit the length of survey so that it does not take up too much of respondents' time. Respondents are more likely to participate and take the survey seriously if answering it does heavily inconvenience them. So ginatry nila na mag-limit sa survey para dili kaayo mag-spend og time ang mga respondents, kay kasagaran sa mga respondents ganahan kaayo sila mag-participate o mag-take og survey. Then seryoso po na sila Then kung makaya lang ang mga questions, make sure na seryoso jud mag-answer ang mga participants. Consider providing incentives. Promising incentives upon completion of the survey can also help encourage participation. Nagapromise sila sa mga participants ug ilahang gina-encourage na i-complete nila ang ilahang survey. It can be something as simple as a small token, a snack, or any kind of food or a professional workplaces. It can even be additional pay for taking time to answer the survey. So, after nila pagmahuman og answer is, ang mga respondents, ginahatagan sila og additional pay for taking time sa pag-answer sa ilahang survey. Then, na sila yung mga baga pahalipay sa mga participants, like snacks or any food in a professional workplace. Data collection through observation. Collecting information through observational methods means that you are acquire data by studying and relationships and connections that may be present in what you are searching. Kung naga-acquire kag data by studying any relationship and connections, nga ma-present nimo siya kung unsa imuhang gina-research. So, there are 4 types of observational methods that are available to you as a researcher. So, natay 4 ka types of observational methods para pwede nimong gamiton as a researcher. Ang cross-sectional, case control, cohort, and ecological. Cross-sectional. In a cross-sectional study, you only collect data on observed relationships at a single point in time. You can observe several characteristics at once. For example, age and gender, and it does not involve manipulating any variables. This sa cross-sectional is maka-collect lang jud kag data base sa imuhang pag-observe sa relationship at a single period. Maka-observe lang kag several characteristics pero panagsa lang siya ug dili siya involved sa pag-manipulate sa mga variables. This method has the advantage of being cheaper and taking less time as compared to case control and cohort. However, with cross-sectional studies, it is possible to miss relationships that could arise over time. So, kani siya nga method, naa siya'y kalamangan sa, naa siya'y kalamangan sa case control and cohort sa ilahang cheaper time and less time. Then, case control. Using the case control method allows you to set up a case scenario and a control scenario and then observe them and compare. So, ang case control gina-allow ka nga mag-set up ka og case scenario and control scenario. A case group has been exposed to a phenomenon of interest while a control group has not. Baga ang case group is nalantad na ang mga pangyayari, mga panghitabo, while the control group is wala pa siya. After identifying the cases and controls, you go back and observe how your event of interest occurs in the two groups in the past, which is make case control studies are referred to as a retrospective. After nimong mag-identify sa cases and controls, then balikan nato ang imong mga event of interest. This method is cheaper and requires less time as compared to cohort method. However, it has limitations when the individuals you are observing cannot accurately recall information. This is referred to as recall bias because you rely on the participants' ability to remember information. So, kanido na method is mas cheaper siya time kesa sa cohort. Then sa mga individuals is naa siya'y limitations para sa mga requires. Cohort. In a cohort method, you follow a group of people with similar characteristics over a period of time. This method is ideal when you are trying to collect data on occurrences and phenomena that happen over a long time of period. So, in cohort daw, pwede nimong sundon ang grupo sa mga tao nga naay mga similar characteristics. So kani siya nga method is ideal og naga-require siya og taas pa siya nga time. It is also not suitable for observing phenomena that occur rarely. Ug kani siya nga ang cohort is dili siya suitable sa pag-observe sa phenomena. Ecological. There are the three methods that we were discussed previously. Collect data on individuals or small groups of people. So katong three methods nga atong na-discuss na to dati is naga-collect og data sa individuals or sa mga small groups of peoples. When you are interested in studying on population, you use an ecological method. So, pag natay interest nga mag-study about population, ang ato ang gamiton dira is ecological method.
Good day, everyone. I am Eliza Jean Esperalta, and this time I will be discussing to you the lesson for word choice and grammatical correctness. As you write your speech draft, it is also necessary to look into the way you put your message to your audience. You also need to consider the choice of words that you use so as to clearly convey the message to the audience. Let us discuss first the vocabulary words. The first one is convey, make something known. The second is highfalutin, elaborated use of language. Then the last one is the prejudice, means unreasonable dislike of something or someone. Now let us move on into our discussion. Although the delivery of the speech is important in getting your message across, phrasing your message in a way that is understandable and clear to listeners is just as important, if not more so. Thus, you should ensure proper word choice and grammatical correctness when writing your speech. So, when writing a speech, it is also important to choose words that is suitable for your speech. Check the words that you use as well as your grammar correctness. As a result, the listeners of your speech will get the message immediately without facing any confusions and misunderstandings. Moving on, tips on word choice. The following are some tips on how to choose the words that you will write in your speech. The first one is choose words that are appropriate for your audience. If your speech is going to be for preteens, avoid using jargon or complex words. In front of a group of medical professionals, on the other hand, you may use medical jargon. It means that if your audience is 9 to 11 years old, you should avoid using jargon words because the words or vocabulary that a preteen known is just limited compared to other people who's older than them and with professions. It may cause confusions to preteens as they do not understand the message of the speaker. However, if your audience is a group of medical professionals, you may use jargon words as it will be much easier for them to understand. The next one is use words that clearly convey your meaning. One misconception many individuals have is that they need to be impressive and use highfalutin words in their speech. However, the use of highfalutin and complex words may obstruct the understanding of the message. Listeners would not be able to reread the speech or consult the dictionary if there are words that they do not understand. So it is best to be clear, direct, and simple in your choice of words. Um, Other speakers get used of using highfalutin and complex words when they are writing their speech. However, sometimes it leads to misconception. Some audience won't understand the meaning of their message, so it is better to make it simpler. Choose words that is easy, clear, and direct for the audience to understand it right away. Then the next one is, while writing, keep in mind that your speech is going to be spoken out loud. There is a difference between the written word and the spoken word. In the words you use in your writing should approximate natural speech. We have an example here. This is something that requires us to take action. Not acting upon this issue would mean that our children, grandchildren, and the generations to come will suffer the consequences. Then, this is something that we must all act upon. Why? Because if we don't, it is our children, grandchildren, and the other generations to come who will suffer the consequences. The two examples present the same idea. The first example shows how the idea can be presented in written text, while the second example approximates natural speech. The inserted question is used to draw the listener's attention to the reason. Also, the use of the contraction don't instead of its formal, uncontracted form do not makes the statement sound more natural. Uh, we all know that before we deliver our speech, we must write first the content of our message. It is stated here that written words is different to spoken words. So when delivering the natural speech, it should be at least approximate or close to the written words you used. Now, next is avoid words that convey prejudice. Make sure that the words you use will not alienate or offend your audience. Keep in mind that you should be respectful in your speech. The speaker should be careful when delivering his or her speech. Make sure not to offend its audience and choose words properly because, as a speaker, you should be respectful towards your listener. Then the last one is be consistent. Sudden changes in tone and word choice can be distracting. If you use formal language at the beginning of your speech, use formal language in the rest. So it means it is quite distracting for the audience if you suddenly change your tone and words when delivering your speech. Therefore, to be a good speaker, use only one method to deliver your message. Now we are on the tips on grammatical correctness. Aside from making sure that you use the proper words in your speech, you should also take note of some considerations regarding the grammar of your speech. After all, a speech laden with grammar errors may make you sound less credible and can also be distracting to your audience. Aside from the usual conventions of English grammar, such as proper subject verb agreement, pronoun antecedent agreement, the following are some tips to keep in mind when checking the grammar of your speech. The first one is use the present tense. The present tense is used for stating facts, habitual actions, and one's own ideas. It is the verb tense that is usually used in speeches. You may, however, shift the tense if needed, such as when referring to an action or event in the past. The second one is use the active voice. Although there is nothing wrong with using the passive voice, it may make the sentence unclear and also less impactful. For example, instead of saying, the solution is something we should think about, it would be better to say this instead. We should think of a solution. It is much better to use active voice because active sentences are shorter, more direct, and less confusing for the audience. Then the last one is avoid run-ons and fragments. Check your speech for run-ons and fragments. Break down run-ons into several shorter sentences and turn fragments into complete sentences. Also, first, what is a run-on? Run-on. So, a run-on sentence occurs when two complete sentences are connected improperly. So, to avoid this, the speaker must fix it by connecting its parts properly and correctly. Um, he or she may use a period, comma, semicolon, and so on. While fragments are incomplete sentences, there are missing components. It may be a subject, verb, or it may not express a complete idea. So that is all for my discussion this day. I hope you learned something from what I have discussed. Thank you guys for watching.